Most people assume that wealth is easy to recognize. They picture expensive cars, designer outfits, and luxury vacations proudly displayed on social media. But genuine wealth is often much quieter than that. In reality, the people who are steadily becoming wealthy rarely feel rich in the moment. They're usually too focused on doing the right things, saving consistently, investing patiently, and building long-term stability to stop and notice how far they've already come. In this video, we'll look at 8 subtle signs that you may be building real wealth behind the scenes, even if it doesn't feel that way yet. Because the truth is simple. People who become wealthy don't wait until they feel rich before acting responsibly with money. They build the habits first, and the results appear later. I'm Duck of Wall Street, and I spend an unreasonable amount of time thinking about money, human behavior, and why some people seem to navigate financial life with confidence, while others constantly worry about their bank balance. If you've ever wondered what it actually feels like to reach different financial milestones, and more importantly, how those milestones start influencing your decisions, consider subscribing and leaving a like if this video helps you see things more clearly. Here's something that rarely gets mentioned about building wealth. It doesn't feel dramatic. There's no celebration, no big announcement from your bank saying you've finally made it. Most of the time, getting wealthier feels surprisingly ordinary, sometimes even boring. It's choosing not to buy something impulsively. It's saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's making small, uncomfortable choices today so that your future self has more freedom tomorrow. And if you recognize even 1 or 2 of the following signs in your own life, you may already be on a financial path that many people never discover. 1. You consistently spend less than you earn. You're not obsessively cutting every expense, but you've created a lifestyle where your spending is intentional rather than impulsive. You don't feel the need to impress people with what you buy, and because of that, your lifestyle naturally costs less than your income. Imagine 2 people earning $75,000 a year. Richard spends about $55,000 and saves the remaining $20,000. That gap gives him options, the ability to invest, prepare for the future, and avoid financial pressure. Peter earns the same salary but spends $80,000 each year. Every raise he receives disappears into a nicer apartment or a more expensive car. On the outside, he looks successful, but internally, he feels constantly stretched. That difference between income and spending eventually turns into freedom. Over time, living below your means becomes the dividing line between financial anxiety and financial peace. 2. You focus on long-term growth instead of quick wins. Many people are drawn to instant rewards, fast money, hot investment tips, or the latest trending opportunity. But if you're building real wealth, your thinking probably looks very different. You're focused on consistency rather than speed. You think in terms of decades instead of days. You care more about compound growth than sudden gains. For example, Richard invests $500 every month into simple index funds and rarely checks the account. Even during market drops, he continues contributing. Over 20 years, that discipline can turn modest contributions into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Peter, on the other hand, constantly jumps between new opportunities, day trading, crypto speculation, or the latest online business idea. Because he never sticks with one strategy long enough, compounding never really works in his favor. Quiet wealth isn't dramatic, it's consistent. 3. You've built a financial safety cushion. You're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, and you probably don't talk about it much. While others showcase expensive purchases online, you've quietly built something more valuable: financial breathing room. Maybe you have an emergency fund or savings that could cover several months of expenses. That buffer changes everything. Unexpected expenses stop feeling like disasters. Bills don't cause panic. Even the possibility of losing a job becomes manageable instead of terrifying. Having that safety margin is one of the clearest signs someone is quietly moving toward financial stability. 4. Your income has grown, but your lifestyle hasn't changed much. One of the most interesting things about people who quietly build wealth is that their spending habits often stay stable even when their income rises. Maybe you received a raise or a promotion. Your earnings increased, but your basic lifestyle stayed mostly the same. This is the opposite of lifestyle inflation. For many people, higher income immediately leads to higher spending. But if you're investing the difference instead of upgrading everything around you, You're building long-term wealth far faster than most people realize. 5. You've stopped comparing your finances to others. When money is tight, comparison can feel constant. A coworker buys a new car. A friend takes an expensive vacation. Social media shows highlight reels that make it seem like everyone else is ahead. But as your financial habits improve, something shifts. You stop measuring your progress against other people's purchases. You begin to realize that much of the wealth people display publicly is often supported by debt or short-term decisions that sacrifice long-term stability. Instead of reacting to what others are doing, you follow your own plan, and that independence protects you from marketing pressure, social expectations, and the fear of missing out. 6. Money becomes less stressful to think about. When finances are unstable, money tends to dominate your thoughts. Every purchase requires mental calculation. Every bill creates anxiety. But once systems are in place, automatic savings, investment contributions, organized finances, money slowly moves into the background of your life. It stops being something you constantly worry about. Instead, your attention shifts toward bigger questions: how you want to spend your time, what kind of work excites you, and what kind of life you want to build. Ironically, boring financial systems often lead to a much more interesting life. 7. You value time more than material things. At some point, many people chasing wealth realize that money is only a tool. The real goal is time. Time to think, rest, create, and spend meaningful moments with the people you care about. When your financial stability improves, you may notice yourself prioritizing freedom of time rather than accumulating more possessions. This shift is subtle but powerful, because true wealth isn't just about the number in your account, it's about the flexibility you have in your life. 8. You've taken full responsibility for your financial choices. Perhaps the most important shift happens in your mindset. Instead of blaming circumstances, income, the economy, or your background, you focus on what you can control. You stop saying, "I can't afford that." Instead, you say, "That's not a priority for me right now." This perspective puts you back in charge of your decisions. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start making the best choices with what you have today. And that sense of ownership is one of the strongest indicators that someone is quietly moving toward financial independence. If even one or two of these signs sound familiar, you may already be on a path that most people never discover. You're not just getting by, you're building something steadily and quietly, something that grows stronger over time. And if it doesn't feel like you're getting rich yet, that might actually be the clearest sign that you are. Just slowly, just quietly. Exactly the way real wealth is usually built.